Hello, this is Stampy Longnose, and welcome to a Halo Reach gameplay comment. Wait a minute. This isn't Halo Reach. What's going on here? That's not a DMR. That's an AK-47. I'm not playing Halo Reach. What is this? Sorry, I seem to be having a few technical difficulties. If you'll bear with me for just 1 second. Right, sorry, I'm just going to start this commentary all over again. Sorry about this. Right. Hello, this is Stampy Longnose, and welcome to a Call of Duty 4 gameplay commentary. It feels weird saying that. That's right, I'm bringing you some more Call of Duty content, and I was actually slightly nervous about uploading this content, which is slightly ridiculous, and there's a few reasons for that. The main reason is because I feel like I've kind of become known in the community as one of the Halo guys, one of the Halo crew, and the other reason is because I feel like Call of Duty, especially recently, is becoming a lot more hated by people that don't play it. You'll find that a lot of people that play Halo and, I don't know, Battlefield and stuff, always really hate Call of Duty, and it's just sort of become a joint consensus that everyone should not like Call of Duty and hate on it and stuff. And I do really like Call of Duty. I mean, I own all of the Call of Duty games from number 2 upwards, and I do enjoy playing it. I mean, Halo's always going to be my baby. It's been my favourite multiplayer game since Halo 1 came out. And so I'm not just switching over to COD, don't worry about that. I'm sure my channel will continue to be predominantly Halo content, but I did play these games relatively recently. I wasn't just running out of Halo commentary, so I was like, oh, fuck it, I should have some Call of Duty 4 up, no one's going to notice the difference or care. I did play this game within the last few weeks or months or whatever, and I had fun, and I kind of gave up with Call of Duty. I didn't like Modern Warfare 3, so I didn't bother playing that. I played Black Ops quite a lot, but when I really played Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And I kind of gave up because every time I tried playing COD, there'd just be hackers. Modern Warfare 2, it's just people noob tubing and stuff. So I kind of just completely gave up with the Call of Duty franchise. Then I went back into these games, and there are still hackers. There are still people flying around the skies and people that are invincible and stuff. But I'd say about 1 in every 5 games is tainted. Well, 1 in every 5 lobbies. But you can still have fun like I'm playing in this game, especially in free-for-all. Which is kind of surprising, because I thought you'd get all the hackers in free-for-all, because I'd assume they wouldn't have very many friends to play with, seeing as they are cheating scum. But yeah, so I do enjoy Call of Duty, and as I said, I was slightly worried about uploading this just because it seems that people are very much against Call of Duty, whereas someone might be a fan of Halo and they don't like Battlefield, but they kind of just say, oh, it's not my kind of game, I don't like it, I like more fantasy, sci-fi games, whatever. But with Call of Duty, there's sort of like, they can't just say, oh, they don't like Call of Duty. They seem to, like, actively hate it, you know? Like, oh, why do you play Call of Duty? It's rubbish, noobs, whatever. And I think there's a few reasons why there is just this agreed idea that if you don't like Call of Duty, you should not leave it at that. You should hate Call of Duty. And I think some of the reasons are down to things in the actual game, things that the developers have implemented, and things that the publishers have sort of stepped in to try and get more money and stuff. And I think some of the reasons are stuff which just happened naturally, just things that would have happened anyway with a game that becomes this popular and kind of the people that play it and stuff. And I think one of the big reasons why it's becoming more hated now compared to when Call of Duty 4 came out, where it was generally a very much beloved franchise by people, it seems so renovating, is the fact that it seems just too similar. It seems to be falling down the route of what sport games like FIFA and stuff are going down, where it seems like a new one comes out every year, and it sometimes seems like just a little bit of a reskin, and they shake things up, and they don't seem to add as much as you'd expect for a game with such a large budget. And I don't think it's quite as bad as some people make out. I mean, they do put a lot of effort in, especially in the campaigns. I thought Modern Warfare 3 was quite lazy, but you can kind of understand that because of everything that was going on with extra developers joining in and some of the top guys leaving and stuff. I think that game just in general was a bit of a mess and had to be slightly rushed, but I do think they don't add enough, and I don't know if that's necessarily a fault of the developers. I think because it's become so popular and there are so many people that play it, and it seems to have a formula that does work and keep people engaged and almost addicted to the game, I think that they're kind of scared to change too much of the core mechanics in case they kind of alienate some players and they lose their fan base. And I think overall, if they don't make a big change soon, that they're going to eventually lose their fan base because people are just going to get bored of the same thing every year. But I think a reason why people hate on it quite a lot is because it does just seem to be the same thing every year, and because it comes out so regularly as well. If it was one game every 3 years but quite similar, I think people would be okay. But because it is, you know, you get a game comes out, you play it for a few months, and they announce the next one, you're kind of like, oh god, here we go again. You can get a bit of like fatigued of just constant Call of Duty. I think another reason is because they can sometimes seem slightly greedy. I think that's mainly to do with the publishers, especially with things like the DLC, where you kind of feel obligated to get it. I remember playing Call of Duty World at War and getting kicked out of lobbies because I didn't have the DLC, and I thought that was kind of unfair. And especially now with things like Call of Duty Elite, they seem to be doing everything they can to milk more money out of you. On top of the fact, if you remember from when Modern Warfare 2 came out, they put up the price of Call of Duty games so that they cost more than a normal game anyway. Plus, there's things like Call of Duty Elite and DLC. It seems like they're not content in just making you buy their game. Another reason is because it tries to cater to anyone, even if you're rubbish at the game. It basically caters to noobs. There's things like death streaks and care packages which can randomly give a rubbish player the top kill streak, and I think that can make the game kind of unbalanced, and it adds kind of randomness to the game, which can make it get very frustrating. So if you are a hardcore player, it's very easy to hate it because you can feel like unfairly killed, where in Halo, generally when you get killed, you can assume that it's because you did something wrong, not because someone else had martyrdom on, or I don't know, dead man's hand, or whatever it's called in Modern Warfare 2. And so I think that's a big problem. It does kind of cater to noobs and stuff, and it just creates frustrating gameplay because it's a combination of being slightly frustrating because you can die so quick and you can get killed by campers and random grenades and stuff. That can be quite frustrating. That combined with the fact that it's so addictive kind of makes it so you get more and more angry because you'll get killed in all these annoying ways. All this bullshit stuff will be happening to you. But because of the progression system, because you want to unlock that next perk or gun and you want a prestige and stuff, you just carry on playing because you get kind of drawn in to just carrying on playing it to just unlock stuff. Maybe you're trying to increase your KD ratio. That's what like keeps you playing. So whatever, you don't stop playing, no matter how annoyed you get, which means you get more and more and more annoyed until you get to a point where you just give up and you get so frustrated you just have to leave it. But with Halo, because there isn't that same progression system, you're generally playing for just the fun of playing. So if you get annoyed, you can just quit. Call of Duty, you carry on anyway because you want to rank up. Another problem is because of the lag, the host system isn't the best, and you can often get a lot of delay, and because you die so quickly, a lot of it can be down to connection and also the hacks, which haven't really been properly patched. You got a lot of Modern Warfare 2, a lot of glitches and hacks, and now seeing Call of Duty 4 and World at War make them almost unplayable because of the hacks is also another reason. And I think they're the main reasons which are bad with the game and why people hate the game, which are down to the developers' faults. But I think a lot of stuff is just stuff that simply happened and couldn't really be avoided because of how popular the game got. And people always like to root for the underdog. Because of how popular it is, I think people are always going to hate on it just because it's the big dog. It's the big, massive mainstream thing. A lot of people kind of automatically side for smaller, more indie games, and I think just because of how massive and dominating it's become, that's just sort of turned a lot of people negative against it. You can't really avoid Call of Duty. It's always there just because of how big it is. Kind of like I've said earlier, there's always a kind of competition because it's so large. I think a lot of Call of Duty, Battlefield players and Halo players kind of see it as their enemy. It's like their competition. So it's kind of, if you're a big fan of Halo, you generally are against Call of Duty because it is like kind of seen as the enemy. I know there are a lot of people that do play both, but I think if you're a really hardcore Halo guy, it's difficult to get into Call of Duty. I think another reason why people have a bit of hostility over it is because of the influence it has over other games. Especially with Halo 4, I see a lot of people getting more annoyed at Call of Duty because Halo 4 seems to be taking a lot of the mechanics, things like, I know they're not called kill streaks, but things like kill streaks and custom classes and what are essentially perks. I think a lot of people don't like Call of Duty because of how much it's changing the industry and how many people, different games are trying to copy it and replicate what Call of Duty is. I think a lot of people see that as kind of dumbing down the industry, and that's another thing. It kind of seems a bit like brainless shooting, and I think something that I don't like about it is it kind of makes other games look bad because it is kind of this sort of brainless shooting game. There's no real depth to it. In like even in the campaigns, there isn't really that much depth to it. And so I think they're the main reasons why people don't like Call of Duty and why there is this big hostility to it. But I think that just leave it alone. If you don't like it, leave it. Don't get annoyed about it. Just carry on playing the game that you want to play. If you do like Call of Duty, ignore people that hate on you. It's absolutely fine to play it. And you'll see here, I'm right at the very end of the game. I got 13 seconds left. I don't want it to go to time. I catch the last guy and I managed to get the win. I think I got 25 kills and only 1 death. Cheers for watching this gameplay commentary, and I'll see you later.